You literally cannot afford to keep doing the bare minimum. You're no longer allowed to do that. It's finished. When we don't plan, we feel like we have to do all the time. Now you're in debt. You have a car that breaks down every week. You can't afford to pay gas. Your insurance is through the roof. And now you're off even worse than you were before you wanted a car.
Get some help.
I did my pop off, cause God is my papa, yeah.
Alright, so if you clicked on this video, you are probably wasting your time and life away, and probably your potential too, and you're wondering how to stop.
Stop it.
If you are that person, then you clicked on the right video. I will share with you how to start elevating your life, and these are steps that I started to implement into my own life, and I started seeing a huge difference. So the first thing you want to do is determine your goals. Nowadays, everybody kind of has an idea of what kind of life they want to live. They just don't know how to get there. One of the biggest things that you can do for yourself is really take the time to sit down with yourself and ask yourself, what are your actual goals? Not just envisioning what kind of life you want, but what specific goals do you want to achieve? Once you have those clear goals in mind, it makes it so much easier to get there. Thing you need to ask yourself is why. Anybody can have goals, but not everyone knows why they even want to achieve those goals. And I think one of the biggest problems in today's society is that there's so much comparison going on, especially with social media, that a lot of times we see something that someone else has and we want it too, but we don't even know why. Is it just because they have it and it seems like their life is just so much better and easier because they have that thing or because they've achieved that goal? Or do we actually want it for ourselves regardless of what other people have? Let's say, for example, you follow someone on Instagram and they have a fancy car and they seem like they have the best life because of it. They seem to be attracting all the right sorts of people because of it. They seem like they present themselves off better to the world because they have this fancy new car. So now you also want this fancy new car. What if everyone in the world decided they don't want that fancy car anymore? Would you still want it? Or do you just want it because other people have it? So you really need to ask yourself why you want to achieve certain goals, because once you figure out why, it makes it so much easier to plan to achieve those goals. Plan. Oh my gosh. Planning is so important. Everybody knows the saying, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And it's so true. I don't even understand how I used to function as a human being before I planned things, because nothing happened. How do you expect to achieve your goals if you have no idea how you're gonna get there? You're gonna start jumping through all these crazy hoops. You're probably gonna lose a bunch of money, which is a whole other thing. And you're just gonna make yourself feel so much worse, feeling like you have to struggle so much more than everyone else just to get what they have. Listen to me and listen to me well. You do not need to struggle as much as you think you do. I'm gonna say it one more time. You do not need to struggle as much as you think you do to achieve your goals. A lot of times, the reason we struggle as much as we do is because we fail to plan. Because when we don't plan, we feel like we have to do all the time. But if you plan, you're able to recognize the seasons in which you need to go hard and work and grind like crazy. And then this season, you can lay back and relax. If you don't plan, you fail to recognize those seasons and those times, and you're just gonna grind like crazy and burn out, and then blame yourself and hate yourself for not living the life that other people are living, and then you're just gonna do it all over again. It's a vicious cycle. And there's even a verse in the Bible, y'all, the Bible is not just some storybook full of religion and rules. The Bible literally has sound truths that everyone should be applying to their lives. Proverbs 16:3 says, "Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans." That's it. Honestly, I could end the video here. I really could. Part of planning to me is praying. If you're someone who has a relationship with God, I highly recommend taking more time out of your day to pray, because praying is literally a part of planning. When you pray, you're consulting God about what you need to do, and he's able to lead you in the right direction so that you don't go down all of these crazy paths that will make you struggle, just like I mentioned before. Now, I'm not saying you're not going to struggle. Everybody has to struggle, but you don't have to struggle as much as you think you do. If I use a car analogy again, I'm talking about cars a lot because I want a car right now. If you're planning to buy a car because that is your goal, but you make absolutely no plans. You don't educate yourself on how the market is looking, on what kind of car you want, what brand would be good for your needs, whether it's good on gas, mileage, etc. You don't plan how your finances are going to be in order to make sure you can buy a car. You might get a crusty car that doesn't work, isn't good on gas. You have to take out loans to pay the car. Now you're in debt. You have a car that breaks down every week. You can't afford to pay gas. Your insurance is through the roof and you're struggling every day. And now you're off even worse than you were before you wanted a car.
Stop it. Get some help.
You need to plan. Discipline is so crucial. I always knew it, but I didn't know it. Before I went to bed last night, I literally wrote out my entire day and I was like, I need to do A, B, C, D at this time, this time. I was realistic with my time, but then I woke up, my alarm clock went off, and I was like, like my bed is feeling a little too nice right now, so maybe 10 minutes. I slept in for like 2 hours past the time I said I was gonna wake up, and it literally threw my whole day off. So being disciplined is so important. And this is the biggest thing. Without discipline, you won't be consistent. And trust me, this is a lesson I am still learning because consistency has not been my strong suit and I'm trying to make it one this year. Discipline is motivation beyond your feelings. Discipline is being able to do those things that you told yourself you wanted to do, even when you don't feel like it anymore. Because when you're able to keep going, even when you don't feel like it, you're able to actually stay consistent with whatever it is that you're doing. But if you're only operating out of your feelings, when you feel like it, great, you'll get things done. When you don't feel like it, you won't. As I'm sharing these tips, these are things that I'm actually experiencing and that I'm actually learning from. If you're not disciplined, there's no way you're going to be able to stay consistent. As you are learning to be disciplined, I want you to keep this in mind. You need to work hard as if the circumstances you're longing for are already happening. So let's say you want to be a full-time influencer, full-time content creator, and you're hoping that you're gonna have brand deals left and right. First of all, you need to be realistic with yourself about how much work it's gonna take to get to where you want. Don't just think about the good aspect of it and, oh, you're gonna get free things, you're gonna make money, you're gonna, yes, that is a reality, but also there's gonna be a lot of work put into it. And once you know that, you need to start working as if all of those things have already been put in place so that when those things do come, you're not all of a sudden stressed out and wondering how you're going to be able to have all these things on your plate. You've already put those things on your plate and you already know that you can handle them. So now when they come, you're prepared. Get a planner. I highly, highly recommend you get a planner. Or if you don't want to specifically get a planner, get a notebook. Just get something where you're able to document the things that you need to get done, document the things that you're doing for the day, document your goals, your projection plan of what you're going to be doing from 3 months to a year to whatever. Make sure that you do that. And if you're someone who doesn't necessarily like to write physically, then find yourself an app or just make your notes your best friend. I highly recommend either using your notes app if you're an iPhone user, and even if you're an Android user, I know y'all have a notes app as well, or using Google Keep. Google Keep is really nice because if you're already someone who's integrated into the whole Google Workspace with Google Docs, Google Drive, everything, then it automatically saves so that if you're on another device, you're also able to keep having that. Because I know sometimes with iCloud, things can get a little finicky and things aren't always there. So if you want something that's across your Google accounts, then I definitely would recommend Google Keep as well. I wanted to tell you guys about this app that I started using, and it's called Structured. It's pretty much an app that helps you keep track of your tasks throughout the day, but it's timed as well so that you're able to really help yourself with time management. And it also syncs to your iCloud, so it's a really great tool to use. I definitely recommend using it if you are someone who's trying to get more disciplined and time manage a lot better. If you end up downloading and trying this app, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys. I'd love to hear how your experience was with this app because I personally love it and it's been a great time management tool. Not only is it good to set goals, but it's also good to remind yourself that you're doing well. Brings us into our next step, which is to acknowledge your achievements. So making sure that you have a planner or an agenda or a notebook, note app, whatever, is great, not only to make sure that you're keeping track of your to-do list and things that you need to do and your goals, but it's also great for keeping track of your progress. If you are someone who's been grinding and you've been consistent, like, take the time to acknowledge those wins. If you've been working really hard and you got into a rut, be a little gracious to yourself. Take the time to acknowledge that you were doing really well before you got into your rut, and now you just need to snap out of it and do it again, but maybe figure out what went wrong so that you're able to stay consistent this time. I really urge you not only to get an agenda to keep track of what you need to do, but also to keep track of what you've already done. Because on days where you feel unmotivated or you feel like you don't want to be disciplined today, you don't want to get things done, when you're able to look back at the things you were able to accomplish, you'll feel so much better and you'll feel so much more capable too. A lot of times, the reason we fail to accomplish certain things is not even because we can't do it, but simply because we tell ourselves we can't. We tell ourselves that we're not able to, or that we're not as good. And it's just simply not the truth. You have so much potential and you need to stop wasting it. But you also need to acknowledge your potential, acknowledge how far you've come. Just the fact that you're watching this video means you're taking a step to better yourself and taking a step to actually make sure that you're doing something productive and beneficial to your well-being and your life. The first step is to educate yourself. Educating yourself can take all different forms, whether it be in school, it could be reading books, podcasts, whatever it is. Make sure that you take the time to educate yourself. Don't just sit there, watch Netflix all day and watch YouTube videos. Unless you're watching educational YouTube videos, then do that. But really make sure that you are putting some time aside each week to make sure that you are actually reading something or taking in something that is beneficial and educational to you. There's so much free education for you out there. You just have to be willing to go out there and find it. Read. read. If you are someone who does not like to read, hate to break it to you, but you gotta start. Back in, man, racism runs so deep. Years ago, the reason they would literally ban Black people from reading books, they would literally stop Black people from reading books because they knew that there was knowledge in those books that would allow Black people to get further along in life and to actually have a chance of becoming wealthy and living better lives. If our oppressors went so far as to hide books from us and keep us from reading just because they knew how much of an impact it would have on our lives, that means that reading is super important, guys. Super important. So I urge you to read. And if you're someone who doesn't like reading, there are so many options available to you. Find other people who like to read. Audiobooks. If you don't like to read, there are so many audiobooks available on YouTube. Literally, you're washing the dishes, you're doing something random, you could be listening to an audiobook and you'll be filling your mind with things that you didn't know before. Another way to educate yourself is to talk to other people who are an expert in whatever it is that you want to do. Let's say you want to become an engineer. Befriend an engineer who's an expert in their field. Make use of that connection, and they will be able to impart to you knowledge that you didn't otherwise know before knowing them. To be mindful of your environment. This is so important. Your environment can literally make or break you. There's this quote I've heard once and it never left me, and it's, "Show me your friends and I'll show you your future." Even though you're not your friends, you are heavily influenced by your friends and you're heavily influenced by your environment. The same way that I mentioned that you want to find people who are experts in their field, you also want to make sure that when you take a look at your circle, you are surrounded by people who are, in a sense, better than you at what it is you want to achieve. Because if all the people in your circle are at the same level as you and know all the things that you know, how are you ever going to learn more? Especially if these are the people that you spend most of your time with. That means you're literally learning nothing most of the time. unless it's outside of your circle. It's really important to surround yourself with people who are benefiting you and you are also in return benefiting them. The past few weeks, I've been super motivated, super disciplined. I thought to myself today, what sparked that? And I realized that it was pretty much everything I mentioned, but I think more than anything, it was definitely my environment. I decided to do like a social media unfollowing spree. I just realized that I've had Instagram for so long and there's so many people on there that I've been following since high school. I decided I was gonna start from scratch. I was gonna unfollow everyone and just start building who I'm following again. It's because I started seeing so many things on my feed that were just so pointless and just weren't feeding me. I mean, your feed is called your feed for a reason. And I started realizing that my feed wasn't feeding me at all. And a lot of people took it personally. I was really surprised. People forget that like social media is not real life. Like if I know you in real life, I'm able to keep in touch with you outside of Instagram. I can love you as a person in real life and not like your Instagram. Like, sorry, if I don't want to see pictures of your tractor out in Oregon, I'm not interested. At the end of the day, it's your feed. I think a lot of times we think that social media is like this big machine we've been thrusted into and that we have absolutely no control over it. But it's literally your page, your account. You do with it what you will. I actually started going on Instagram and seeing things that were inspiring me. Like, Instagram wasn't just a place for me to scroll endlessly anymore. Like, it actually became a place where I felt motivated and inspired to do certain things, or I heard things that actually had substance. And I was so surprised. I wanted to mention 2 accounts who really inspired me. The first one is Maya Prosser. I follow her on Instagram and I'm subscribed to her YouTube channel. She is so great. She's so motivating. She has a lot of fashion, lifestyle, fitness content. She's just so motivating. Like, she leaves no room for excuses. And I just started thinking to myself, like, why am I making excuses for myself? Especially because she's someone who's doing something I want to do. So to see her operating in that way and to be living a life that I would also like to live tells me that there's something she's doing that I also need to be doing. Watching Maya has like inspired me so much. Follow her on Instagram, subscribe to her YouTube channel. She's an amazing, wonderful woman of God and she's doing great things. Another account that's like highly inspired me are Josh and EC. Josh and EC. Yes, I'm a part of Quality Crew. I love them so much. And lately they've been making videos and I don't know if they've come up with it, but they're the ones who have heard this phrase from. And the phrase is operating at our best selves or at our highest self. And I was like, I've been trying to find a phrase for like elevating my life, and that is it. It's operating at my highest self or at my best self. Like, that is literally what we want for ourselves. And so just watching their content, literally there are days where I'm like, I don't feel motivated, but I know I have stuff to do. I'll literally put on their videos, especially like their sit down ones that they've been doing recently when they talk about that. Because as soon as I hear them talking about it, it just does something for me. And so I love them. They've inspired me. So to both Josh and EC and to Maya, thank you. Y'all are inspiring. You don't even know how much you're changing lives. And that is oh my gosh, that is another thing. If you can't motivate yourself enough for yourself, motivate yourself for what you can do for others. Because sometimes we think about wanting to elevate our lives and that being just for us, but you don't realize that by living your best life, you are going to inspire so many other people to walk in their purpose and their calling. And so just for that reason, you literally cannot afford to keep doing the bare minimum. If you've landed on this channel and you continue to watch my videos, you're no longer allowed to do that. It's finished. I want us to decide today, repeat after me. I will no longer do the bare minimum. I'm gonna need you to say it with your chest because we're not living bare minimum lives anymore. I will no longer do the bare minimum. Starting today, I am choosing to live my best life. Period. You tell yourself that every day when you wake up, watch your life transform. So, to conclude this super probably long video, I hope that you're able to put these steps into practice and that we're able to elevate each other and encourage each other to do these things so that we're able to get closer to our goals, because we don't have time to waste. We might as well do what we need to do, because
like, I hate wasted potential.
Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up if this video has helped you or encouraged you in any way. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you are looking to elevate your life, because that is what we're all about. Make sure you join the tribe. We welcome you with open arms. Make sure to follow me on my Instagram as well. And I will see you in my next video. Don't forget not to listen to me. These are not just words. I've made this my outro, but I'm like, I mean it. Like, this is my mantra. Do not limit yourself and be the best you that you can be. I'm gonna say it again. Do not limit yourself and be the best you that you can be. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.